Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Entertainment and Creative Business segment of BusinessDay, brought to you in partnership with the Movement Studios. My name is Anthony Oduba, and I'll be your host for today's show. With me this morning, we have a cinematographer by excellence, and his name is Kagho Idhebor. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's nice to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, you were the winner for Best Short Film at the AMVCA this year. Yeah. How did it feel like for you?
I feel privileged and excited at the same time. Although this is my third AMVCA nomination, I've been nominated twice as a cinematographer, and this is the first time I've been nominated for Best Short Film. And yeah, so winning this award is like a testament of hard work and consistency over the years. So I think I will accept it with honor, even though I feel privileged because that category is a tough category. Lots of great films in that lineup. And winning it is, like I said, is a privilege. I'm excited about it.
So walk us through how was your thought process like when they called your name out for the Best Short Films? How was it like for you? And Wale Ojo introduced you as somewhat like he knew you or he groomed you before. How was the relationship with you with Wale Ojo, and what was it like the process going up to the stage to meet him? How was it?
So building up to that award night, I would say I was committed to the process emotionally because it's a voting category. So I was really involved with the voting and so that made me somehow emotionally connected. Where you've put a lot of work into something like voting and calling for people to support. There's always a sort of tension and suspense that comes with it. So building up to that day, I've been like on the edge, like let this just pass. So I dressed up that day to just have fun, and I wasn't really expecting anything. Even behind my mind, I was like, okay, yeah, if I win, it's not a bad idea, since it's my third nomination. But somehow, Wale Ojo made it very easy because I saw when he opened the booklet, I saw his excitement, and he couldn't wait to express that. He's very happy that this person won, and he's a good friend. So I think it's I feel honored that Wale Ojo presented that award because he introduced me in my proper, presentation. And him saying, he's excited that this person won his award and he's a cinematographer and he's a good friend. So that has already reduced the tension. So if you haven't seen the videos of the, posted by my friends on social media, they were already jubilating even before they called my name because I was apparently the only cinematographer in that, category, and a lot of people know me and Wale Ojo as friends. So they already know that, okay, apparently Kagho has won. That's also it's the excitement, or he reduced the tension a bit, and when my name was called, he kind of gave me some sort of hope and confidence to climb up that stage to present the award, to receive the award.
Yeah. So, and a lot of people don't know this, but you've been involved in some of the biggest films in Nigeria. I'm talking about Up North, the cinematographer there, then working with Kemi Adetiba and the King of Boys. This second series. How did you start as a career? Like how was it like for you starting up and all up onto working with these big names in the industry?
Yeah. Okay, before I say this, many people don't really know this about me. I have won numerous awards even before I came into the industry as a director. But somehow I love the camera. I believe I'm destined to be a cameraman. I believe my work on earth is to document moments. So somehow cinematography has overshined that part of me that nobody knows. So if you go to my office now and you see most of the plaques there, they are all, directors' awards. So my going into, or how I started in the industry, it was by chance. My dad tricked me into the film school because he being an artist. I don't know what he saw. I don't know what inspired him, but I knew because I grew up in Warri, and Warri is the South University at that time was very notorious for cultism and those other vices, and he was trying to, shield me away from that, going to those universities. So he tricked me. I was like, okay, what if you go to the film school? They will teach you how to sing music there. He tried to convince me to go to the film school, and I was like, I'm not going to the film school because I knew nothing about film. I've never even come across anything. I don't even know what directing is. I don't know what cinematography is. I was clueless. But when he mentioned that they were going to teach you how to sing music, I was interested in music, dancehall, reggae music. So he heard me singing Bob Marley in the bathroom one day, and immediately I came out, was like, what if you go to the film school, teach you how to sing music? And I was like, yes, I want to go. And then I found the next month I was already enrolled in the film school. And I spent a year in the film school just rolling around, writing and passing exams. There was no connection, there was no music, there was nothing. But I just thought, okay, since I'm already here, let me just fill in the process. And, I was just writing exams and understanding, reading and writing. But one day I was sitting in my hostel and somebody came and said, will you want to follow us to the girls' hostel? That they are shooting a film there, just come and assist us. We need hands to help us hold lights and stuff like that. And I volunteered. Why not? Who don't want to go to the girls' hostel in the evening? So I got there and held the lights, 500 watts halogen lights, and I watched the way these senior students, they were making a film, and I saw the cameraman scale through the fence with the camera, and the way the cameraman followed the actor scaling through the fence, and the guy ran into the night. I love the physical, the physical nature of the job, and I thought, wow, I think I should take this a little bit more serious. And at that time, I was already approaching my 3 years of my professional diploma as a director. And I said, okay. Then I was getting close to graduating, and I asked myself, okay, so what will I say I've done? What will I say I can do after graduation? I just decided to put a few, story ideas together, and I made a short film. And that short film was well accepted in the school. And I remember I got a text message from a senior colleague that says that, he said, if you continue like this, you will turn out to be one of the best filmmakers we have around. And that was a huge encouragement for me. And I kept that message for almost 6 years in my phone. And I graduated, I was about 21. And my dad thought I was still very young, and he advised me, okay, you're still very young, you've done a 3 years professional diploma, why not just do the bachelor's degree another 3 years so you can be a little bit groomed? Yeah, I thought it was a good idea, and I enrolled and I got the degree admission. And the fresh student that came in for the diploma program, so these were the guys that came that had this, they were born filmmakers. They have conceptualized the idea to be filmmakers. So they came in, and at that time I was already, getting interested in film more. So I blended with them, and it was a whole lot of films, shooting here and there. So that was when I really got really interested, passionate about, this career as a filmmaker, as a director, as a cameraman. So my process is like in 3 stages. One is discovering, my passion. I realized that, okay, for me to be anything, I must have passion for it. So it started as a passion. I was just enjoying it, enjoying the process, enjoying the creativity, the storytelling style. And the second process was understanding what cinematography is. So during those times of understanding, getting passionate about film, I made my first feature film called 07, directed by Udoka Oyeka and Femi Ogusonwo. They were fresh directors at that time. So we're just experimenting, and somebody saw it. A guy called Bolaji Akran. He saw the film, and he saw a little bit of what I did, and he sent for me. And it was when I went to his house that he mentioned cinematography. He said, you look like a cinematographer. I don't know what he saw, like he saw vision or something. And he did a little test, and he saw that I wasn't really strong enough. He wanted to shoot a film, and he said, I like your passion, I like your zeal, but you're not strong enough to make my film. So I'm going to bring in a cinematographer from India. And he brought in somebody, and he said, you're going to learn under him. And he brought in Viraj, and Viraj shot the film, and I was working with Viraj as an assistant. So I learned a lot from Viraj, and he gave me a book.
This is the Indian.
Yes, he's an Indian cinematographer. So Bolaji, after the whole process, Bolaji gave me a book called Cinematography. And when I read that book, the book chronicled most of the top cinematographers around the world. And I read the book and I read their process, read their lifestyle, watched their films, and I understood what cinematography is. I'm like, wow, this is it's a serious profession, you know, it's like a calling, it's just like an artist, you know. A lot of people can learn how to draw or learn how to paint, but there are some people that are born with that talent, and so you can see the difference. So he just thought I was destined to be a cinematographer, and he gave me that book. So after reading that book, it changed my life. It exposed me to reading, and I started reading about anything film, you know, about life and stuff. Then the third phase was understanding who I am, what kind of stories do I want to tell, you know. And I got that from, I went as an assistant on a set, on a feature film set, and they brought in a DP from Kenya, but it's a Walish DP who's based in Kenya. And after the whole process of working with them as an assistant, as a clapperboard loader, I approached him at the end of the day and I told him that I liked his work and I want him to mentor me. And he told me, oh no, we're in different time zones and it will be difficult for him to mentor me, but there's a program that he feels I can apply for. And I applied, and he sent me the link, and I saw the program, One Fine Day Films, and I applied for it. And I was selected, and that was the first time I was leaving the country to Kenya, and I went into a 2 weeks intensive cinematography training. You know, it's a well-sponsored training sponsored by the German institute called One Fine Day Film, all expense paid, and that was the first time I was leaving Nigeria. So I was opportune to be tutored under a DOP called Frank Blau. So Frank Blau now, you know, brought out that, you know, that part of me, that story part of me. Who am I? What kind of stories do I want to tell? Do I want to tell commercial stories? Do I want to tell life engaging stories? So that was the main theme of that workshop. So I started discovering, okay, these are the kind of stories I want to tell. This is what inspired me. So my stage of being a filmmaker has been from discovering my passion, understanding the importance of the profession as a cinematographer, and understanding, you know, the kind of stories I want to tell as an artist. So that is like kind of my process. And I believe I'm still developing, because right now I've gone through all those stages. Right now is I'm moving to another stage of my career, which is experimenting the things I've learned. So now is basically, you know, showing what I can do rather than working because I want to work and earn a living. So now is basically, you know, I do get involved in project that will push my career, not because of how much they're paying me. So I'm very selective now, the kind of directors I work with, the kind of films I want to make, the kind of scripts I want to agree to be on. So all these things is kind of the process I am.
Can we say that this is what led you to work with the likes of AMVCA Young?
Yeah.
With people like him, he tells great stories as well.
Yeah.
Kagho Idhebor as well, I've been known for telling good stories as well.
Yeah.
And we also, can you say that this is what has led you to work with this kind of names in the industry?
Yeah. So there's a phase of my life that has passed now, you know, and that phase is I target life before KOB.
Okay.
You know, life before King of Boys, because King of Boys to me is like the biggest project I've done, you know. So, and that was after that project, that was when I realized that, oh, so my works can be seen all over the world now from here, you know. So when before then I've done Up North, I've done Sylvia, I've done Three Thieves, you know, a couple of music videos and commercials here and there, work with, you know, directors. And when I got the contract to do KOB, I didn't know it was going to be that big. You know, I approached it, and, you know, just like we approached normal films. I didn't even know it was a Netflix original, because we were already like about 3 weeks into the project before we realized that, oh, we're shooting a Netflix original before it was acquired. So there was no much, I didn't prepare for the Netflix original. I just prepared for, okay, I'm shooting a film that will probably be distributed, you know. So after making King of Boys, the way the thing blew up everywhere around the world. It was a Netflix original. It was, everybody knew me somehow. My Instagram, skyrocketed. I woke up one day and I did an interview because we work with a particular lens called Cook lenses. And they contacted me and they did an interview for me to talk about my work with the lens. And I woke up one morning and I saw that my interview has been, publicized in over 15 international magazines, top magazines, including the British Cinematographer magazine. And I was like, wow, so this can, so that, it gave me two things. One, it made me scared that, what you can do here can be seen everywhere, and you're gonna be tagged that, okay, this is your work, And again, it made me realize that, you can be in Nigeria, and you can be known, you can be successful without going abroad or go and stay in LA or go and stay somewhere in New York to be known. So that gave me some sort of push and an hint at the same time, like, okay, any work I'm going to be doing from then must be deliberate, because I have seen that my work can, from Nigeria, be seen all over the world, especially in all these VOD platforms. So I now tagged my life and my process, life before KOB. I started writing about how I started. I started writing about the mistakes I've made. So in episode, in anthology series, and I tagged it Life Before KOB. So KOB was kind of the last bus stop of making films for, somebody calls you, I have a script, what are you going to do? How much do you want to take? And you just jump on it. So that put a stop. So now it's anything I'm doing now must be deliberate and must be something that is taking my career to the next level. So that means both the director and the scripts and the process and everything must be aiding that goal to, make me, give me that enabling ground to express my creativity, to express my passion, to express my career, my process as a cinematographer, as a filmmaker. Yeah.
Talking about creativity, and we're now delving into the new you, which is making beautiful short films.
Yeah.
You've seen the likes of Burkina Babes. I don't know who have seen, but I have seen that film. People need to see Burkina Babes. It's a photo essay, and it's quite good. You guys need to see it. Then the one that won you the AMVCA awards, Broken Mask.
Yeah.
Tell us your creative ideas into making that film. How was it like for you from the starting? What was the storyline about? And I've seen the movie, and it's a very good one. And the ending of the film is an open ending. You can tell whatever you want to tell. You can just give whatever ending you want to give to it. So tell us, just drive us through your creative process of making that film.
Yeah.
I will kill you with my own hands! Filthy creature!
Daddy!
Eddie, yeah. I don't know how I would have reacted if it was your own brother that did this to our child.
Daddy? Yesterday when you and Mommy went out, Uncle Joey was trying to put his hand in my pee-pee.
So Broken Max is kind of the most personal project I've done in my career, and I saved the money to make Broken Max for close to 3 years. Like I walk, take some parts and keep, walk, take some parts and keep, because I wanted the film to be in a certain standard, So if you look at the society today, or at that, I think it's still happening today, at that time I made that film. So you wake up in the morning and you just look at the news, and there are cases, random cases of child molestation, this, that, there, child molestation here, child abuse here. And boldly I would be like, if this thing happened to me, I will kill the person, it will break the person's head, why are they not persecuting this? Stuff like that. You were just saying randomly. Until one day I got back And somebody very close to me said that somebody who is actually close to her was trying to molest her when we were not around. And instantly, that shock, like, ooh, so this is even closer than you think. And that kind of distuned my thinking and my process for like 6 months. I felt very, helpless. I was lost in myself because, when you are meant to protect somebody and you fail, somebody very vulnerable that has given themselves to you, and you are the watchdog, you are the guide, and you fail. That was how I felt, like a failure, and I didn't know what to do. And I was confused and I was thinking. But one day I just went to a gallery I escorted a friend to a gallery, and he was looking at the paintings in the gallery, and I was standing looking at the painting, and somehow, some way, my eyes just moved to, one kind of like a box under a painting, and there was this doll lying in the box, one vintage doll lying in the box, and I picked it up, and I was looking at the doll, and the doll has a big smile, and the doll in the shirt is written happy, and the doll had one hand, so one of the hands is broken out, and it's just one hand like this. And I was just looking at the doll and looking at the smiling face of the child, and next thing I heard, where did you get that doll? And I looked up, and the owner of the gallery was standing in front of me, and I said, I saw it here. And he said, and he collected and he looked at it, and I was like, I like the doll, can you give it to me? And he was surprised, like how much do you want to sell it? So he was like, for a while, and he asked me, what do you want to do with this doll? And I told him somebody very close to me got molested by her uncle, and I feel this would be a good gift for her. And he just gave it to me very quickly, like, no, take. If that is you think it's going to heal the child, take it. So when I was going back home that day, the doll was on my dashboard, and I was driving, and it was the evening sun, it was in twilight, and the sun was just shining on the doll, and I was playing music driving. And a shot just came to my head, like an high angle shot of the doll with the light passing through, like that on the dashboard. And I can make a story about this doll, and I will title it The Broken Hand. Those kind of, not messing around. I started writing about the story. In fact, I wrote exactly how I got the doll from the gallery, just the whole process. And yeah, that was the birth of the concept of the broken mask. And I titled Broken Hand. And in between, I have mentors who I speak to, Tamfio Fori, Funcho Ogunikpe. These are seasoned artists who understand the importance of being African. And they're like, but the doll is not an African thing. Your story has a very cultural, feeling to it. I don't think the doll works. So I started thinking, okay, I started looking at, okay, what is African? What is the most symbolic African motif? And I like the mask. The mask. Okay. All right, mask. Okay. So somehow, in the story I was writing before, this guy brought the doll to his house and gave it to the daughter. And she wakes up in the morning and the hand was grown out. So I was trying to create some sort of healing for the child, some sort of cosmic, because the genre of the film is magical realism. I was trying to create something around that part, and I'm like, okay, I can create that, with the doll, and I'll change it to the mask. So I now created that same feeling to, okay, the mask is broken and the mask is fixed somehow. So I created this character to be a dancer who dances ballet, and somehow the father is a sculptor and a painter. And I used I don't know if you know the great Nigerian sculptor and painter Ben Owonu. So I used him as a model, and there was one of his painting called Ogolo. Ogolo is like a masquerade, and there was a pattern in which that masquerade is being drawn, and I was like, okay, so I'll create a mask, and mask comes there's always a wearer of the mask. What if I now create, I just messed around with it and I got to talk to, I wanted it to be a very original. I wanted you to look at it and you feel, okay, this guy is a painter and this guy actually, painted all these drawings, all these paintings on the wall, and he's a sculptor and actually made this mark. So I modeled the character with Benwonu and I got the paintings of Juliet Ezenwa. And Juliet Ezenwa is an advocate for, she's known, in fact, most of her famous paintings are known to be masquerades, and they are female masquerades. So I started talking to her, and she always says that the masquerades, women are always exempted from the masquerade society. So you don't see women being part of the masquerade cult or masquerade community and stuff like that. And even paintings or masks that you see are made from the women is worn by men. And that made a lot of sense to me because my story, I'm trying to empower the female child. And coincidentally, all my body of work, somehow not planned, are always in that line of speaking for the female, the only female-oriented stories. I'm like, okay, let me just capitalize on it. And I use that as a motive to just paint around my story about a man who his child got molested, but he couldn't do anything somehow. But because of his belief, because of who he is, because of his spiritual and his craft, created that kind of some sort of karma that empowered the child, that sort of, created some sort of freedom for that child. That's why you see at the end of the film, you see the child dancing, and the child is dancing with a mask who has already been introduced as a broken mask. You don't know how it was being made, and you see this child who was being introduced earlier, learning how to dance, became a very good dancer, and she's telling, and the dad is receiving a phone call that the guy that molested her had an accident, and the girl is dancing in the face and is surprising, looking at her like, where did you get these marks from? And those kind of cosmic interpretation, just yeah.
So let's go to the business angle of making short films. And we know that people, filmmakers make short films, but the horrors of this of the business is how to fund your films. So briefly, how do filmmakers or how do young filmmakers who are getting into filmmaking, how do they fund their films? Is there any process aside going to loans for banks? What is the process like? Do you advise them to just take their cameras out and just film and put it out there? So what's the thing about what can they do to make sure that their films are out there, people get to know them?
So it's kind of tricky. Some people are lucky. Some people are lucky they are from rich families. Some people are lucky they know people, they are connected. So you can get your film funded anyway. But short films are not commercially viable. Depends on the kind of short films you're making. But short films generally are not commercially viable, So for me, how I made my own film, I saved the money for like almost 3 years. I work and I save the money, But it got to a point where I had to call on people I know. Like people like Tunwa Aderunoku from the owner of Trino Studios. He has supported me in my previous film, and I went to him and like, Baba T, I want to make this other film. So he saw the success of that last film, and he gave me some parts. He gave me just to send your account number, and he gave me some money. People like Kemi Adetiba supported me with a camera, and a few of other friends, and Elefion Gudoka Oyeka, they supported me in, they gave me some small money to support the process. But 80% of the budget, I saved it, because I know the kind of film I want to make, and nobody is going to come, and it's very rare for somebody to come and give you money and say, we want to buy your short film. Even though they buy it, they may not give you, close to what you spent in the film. So I see short films as experimental.
Finally, because of time, let us, what ideas or what ideas would you give to people or young filmmakers who are aspiring to get to where you are today? What words of advice would you would you share with them? There are a lot of people out there who are looking for these opportunities to be in the rooms that you have entered. What would you say to these people?
Yeah, the truth is, there are a lot of half-baked or half-processed, filmmakers. Let me use that word. Not that they are not good enough, or but just like you're incubating an egg, there's a process. If the egg is not properly incubated, when it cracks, you can feel you can see that it is not prepared to be cracked. So I feel people should, using myself as an example, using myself as a blueprint. With I spent 6 years in the film school. I have a professional diploma, 3 years professional diploma, and I have a 3 years bachelor's degree. But guess what? When I finished from the film school, I went to my house, I raised my bed very high, I hold all the certificates and I threw them under, right? And I locked it. And nobody knew I went to the film school. I went and started all over again as a production assistant, as a camera assistant. So I was working, nobody knew, if I've had that experience. So, and I was working and learning until I saw that I was good enough, or I had the first chance to prove myself. So incubating your talent and your skill, it's a very, a very important part, because these days you can be a filmmaker easily. The tools are very easy to operate now, but you see, the idea, discovering yourself, discovering who you are, discovering what story you want to tell, that is what makes you. Because if you don't have a voice, you'll be voiceless. If you don't have a motive, if you don't have what you want to say, then you will just make anything. So all those things, having what you want to say, discovering yourself, is a process. You must pay your dues. You must work. These days you can read and learn how to be filmmakers, but understanding that you need to understand this process, and bowing and bending your knees to learn under people that have navigated that route, and learn from their style, and understand, cook yourself, is key. So if I'm to advise anybody, I would say, drop your shoulders, be humble, get your hands, get your feet, get your body dirty, sleep on the floor. There's something I wrote and say, if you want to, it takes an intelligent person to know how to serve coffee in a room where intelligence is being served. So you can listen to it, but you must first of all go and serve coffee there. Yeah. And and that process of serving coffee comes with a lot of humiliation and a lot of ordering and a lot of, so you must be humble enough to see the big picture and go through that process. So yeah, if you do that, you're like halfway into the process.
Kagho, thank you so much for this for this session. I if you leave me here, I would stay here all day just listening and learning from him. If you don't know who he is by now, please get to know him, watch his movies, his short films. They'll be out there. Come to me personally, I'll give it to you. Thank you so much for being on this show. I really appreciate your coming here, and we would like to have you again someday. And I wish you the very best. I wish not only making short films, please make feature films too. So
yeah, definitely.
We can get you in the cinemas or Netflix or on Amazon or wherever you want to get. So I'm really honored to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
For more in-depth analysis, please read up on our website at www.businessday.ng.